476 AD is a very well-known date among people generally, but especially in Europe. What if I was to tell you that 476 AD as the date for the fall of Rome was a complete lie, a fabrication invented for personal gain by another historical figure, and that this fabrication stuck, and now we all believe in something that isn't actually true? Why might 476 AD be considered the fall of Rome? It starts with this guy called Odoacer. He wasn't actually a Roman himself, but he had risen through the ranks of the Western Roman army and was granted the position of the leader of the Germanic Foederati in 475 AD. The Foederati were treaty-bound tribes to Rome, rather than colonies or citizens of the empire. Soon after, that same year in 475 AD, the Western emperor was deposed. His name was Julius Nepos, and he was ousted by a man named Orestes. He promptly installed his son, Romulus Augustus, as the new emperor. At the time, Romulus was actually only a teenager, and this was not looked at kindly by the Eastern Roman Emperor Zeno, who thought of Romulus and his father to be traitors, supporting instead the now exiled Julius Nepos. Nepos, in the meantime, had fled to Dalmatia, which is modern-day Croatia and Bosnia, and he'd organised his court in exile, where he actually received homage from the Western Roman Empire, just parts that excluded Italy. The Germanic Foederati and also Odoacer petitioned for their own land to settle in, as a reward for their service now, but this was refused. The situation was not satisfactory for them. They were now an army for an illegitimate emperor, who was particularly unpopular among the foreign powers of Eastern Rome, as well as the rest of the Western Roman Empire. And the Germanic Foederati were not being rewarded for their troubles. Under Odoacer, they led a rebellion in 476 AD. And this was successful. Odoacer killed Orestes and captured the Emperor Romulus, who he sent away to Campania for the rest of his life, really, but with a pension, which was quite nice. Romulus was considered the last emperor of Roman origin, and thus his deposition was considered by many the fall of Rome. Odoacer acted quickly to secure his control over Italy. He was clever in that he approached the Eastern Roman Emperor Zeno, and Zeno was named the Overlord of Italy. And in return, Zeno actually granted Odoacer the title of Patrician in Italy. Essentially, Odoacer was ruling Italy as he wanted to, but he had the Eastern Roman Emperor's approval now, because he was essentially a client state of the Eastern Empire. But why was it not actually the fall of Rome in 476 AD? Well, first off, officially it was the Eastern Roman Emperor that now ruled the Italian peninsula through his patrician Odoacer. Furthermore, Roman culture, law, and institutions continued into Odoacer's rule. The Senate continued to meet and served a real government function. For example, when they convened and agreed to send the Western Roman Emperor's insignia to the Eastern Emperor Zeno, symbolizing the unity of the East and West empires. Coinage continued to be minted with Roman emperors on them, such as Julius Nepos and Zeno. And the Roman population of Italy didn't just disappear either. Many of them at the time only saw Odoacer as yet another ruler. In fact, prior to Odoacer, there had actually been 9 Western Roman emperors since 455 AD. So if 476 AD wasn't the fall of Rome, why does everyone seem to think it is? Well, this was the fault of a future Eastern Roman emperor's PR team, and this emperor was the famous Justinian. Until the 510 AD, or 510s AD, writers at the time didn't put very much emphasis on the date 476 at all. It was just the date at which another emperor was deposed. That all changed with the Roman writer Marcellinus Comes, who stated that the Western Empire of the Roman people perished after Odoacer's coup. Marcellinus stated that Odoacer was a king of the Goths, and this is why historians know that this was a fabrication. A Goth named Theodoric had conquered Italy from Odoacer and established the kingdom of the Ostrogoths there. But Odoacer himself wasn't a Goth, and instead Marcellinus claimed he was a Goth to try to prove that the Roman Empire had fallen in 476, because this would grant the Eastern Roman Empire a pretext to invade Italy for themselves, as they could be seen as the protectors of the Western Empire. And since Marcellinus worked closely with Justinian, it's not surprising that he wrote this for him. So Rome did in fact not fall in 476 AD. An Eastern Roman emperor just pretended it did, and he pretended so well that most people today believe him. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to stay up to date with the content, and I will see you in